And so if I'm going to win, like, it's going to take my best race. But that's why I'm here, is like, I want it should be required that you have to have the best race of your life to win a race like OCC.
So, Dani, first of all, thank you for having me along to this awesome event that Terex have put on. How are you doing? Like, how long have you been in Chamonix, and how's the last prep going?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Jamie. I got here last Tuesday, so it's officially a week actually today that I've been in Chamonix. I decided to stay home a little bit longer this year. I had some family stuff at home, but otherwise, I'm doing really good. Yeah, I'm really excited. At this point last year, I was actually really sick. And this year, knock on wood, I'm not sick. So that alone has gotten me really excited to race on Thursday.
Awesome. And the travel's not been too bad? That's obviously something that athletes are always quite conscious about. Have you managed to perfect the travel routine?
I thought I did until last year when I got sick. But yeah, I've learned I need to be here at least a minimum of roughly like 9 to 10 days before the race. So I got here exactly 10 days before the race. And yeah, it's really about just like sleeping as much as you can, even if the hours are weird, because that rest is more important than anything.
Yeah, awesome. And the season so far, how's that been going, in the prep specifically for this? I imagine this has been the main A race throughout the year.
Yeah, this is definitely an A race this year. I started the year probably better than I've started any other year. I ran a 1:10 half marathon, took a good win at Canyons 50K, which was the North American major this year. Unfortunately, the 2 races after that I was pretty disappointed with. I didn't quite know what was going wrong, but it turns out that I was very anemic.
Okay.
But iron is better than ever now, which I'm really glad I figured that out before this race, so if that's a lesson learned. And yeah, training, this is probably the hardest training block I've done before an OCC. This is my 3rd version I'm coming into, and I would say probably the most well physically prepared.
Awesome. And with the anemia, is that the first time that you've suffered that, or previously have you had that in years before, or first time?
Yeah, as far as the anemia goes, I haven't had it in years, so that's why it was a little bit of a surprise, but you know, looking back at my training log, it's not surprising as much. I just needed to be taking more iron for how much more my training had gone up, and I kind of kept the iron the same.
Nice. And for female athletes in particular, keeping an eye on iron levels is so crucial. For male athletes as well, but females in particular. So for anyone who isn't keeping an eye on those things, or doesn't know what to be looking out for, what are those things you should be noticing where changes are happening?
Yeah, I really appreciate that question. Yeah, anemia is definitely, it affects both men and women, but women tend to have it a little bit more. It's usually just like a very deep fatigue, like not normal training fatigue, which can be really hard at this level because you are tired a lot of the time from training.
Yeah.
But also I noticed, like, no matter how much sleep I was getting, I wasn't feeling rested. And then it really showed itself in my races. Like workouts, you can kind of get away with it because the work is short and quicker. But in races, I kept hitting a certain point and my body would just die regardless of how much I was eating. And also I was just very irritable. I thought I was just cranky for a couple of months, but it turns out I was anemic as well. But yeah, the easiest way to fix your iron is like go talk to your doctor, figure out like what dosage is safe to take, eliminating caffeine around it, calcium, there's other inhibitors. And so for me, I just kind of tripled the dosage I was taking and doubled my vitamin C I was taking with it, and then just shot back up. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So your history at OCC, obviously in 2022 you were on the podium that year, but then 2023 last year unfortunately DNF. Talk us through a little bit about what that history with this race has been like, and what was there anything in particular last year that led to that DNF that you've now learned from in particular?
Yeah, I mean, running OCC for the first time and getting podium, there's not a lot of people who can say that. And I think in the moment I was really excited about it, but I didn't realize how rare that was until last year coming in, you know, as a favorite already in my second year. So that first year was really cool. I just trusted my gut and was able to get there. Last year I got sick like pretty much the weekend before the race. And I thought it was just in my head because we all get weird during race week. But it turns out I was really sick. I had a really bad stomach bug, so like anything I ate just came out of me. And so for 3 days I basically had no food. And then I tried to eat. I finally felt better the day before the race, but it was too late to kind of like mitigate how much calories I had actually lost in my body. And I just felt dead from the start. And I ate all my food within like the first hour. I was so hungry. And yeah, I just wasn't going to finish in a fashion that I would have liked from like a professional athlete standpoint, but like my body was already depleted. Why be out there for a really long time? So that was a really hard DNF because I came into last year wanting to win, being prepared to try and win the race. Luckily, one of my teammates and really good friends ended up winning the race and had a historic race. Anyone who runs the 50K distance knows how significant Tony McCann's win was last year. So that was really, really cool to see, despite what I was going through. But yeah, going into this year, it's been a balancing act of being nice to myself, but naturally my very competitive side of me comes out while I'm in Chamonix. And prior to last year, I had only but podiums in Chamonix. And so, yeah, I mean, I've prepared myself physically as much as what I can believe can win the race. With that being said, this race is miraculously stacked with women. Like you have the entire podium from last year's World Championship. You have winners of Mont Blanc Marathon, winners of Sagama, podium finishers from Mont Blanc, Sagama, Sierra Zinal, Mont Blanc, and Sagama. Like you literally have all the best women for this distance in this race, besides a couple too that had to drop out. And so if I'm going to win, like it's going to take my best race. But that's why I'm here, is like I want it should be required that you have to have the best race of your life to win a race like OCC. It's just a matter if I can do it on the day.
Do you feel like, obviously there's no hard and fast answer, but do you feel like you are in a position to give that best race of your life this year?
Yeah, I think physically and mentally I am. But again, if someone else, I don't know what other people's trainings look like. I don't really like looking at other people's training. But if someone out-trained me and they have their best day, then they're the winner. But the way that I see it is like, I don't know, I just want to put myself in a position against my competitors that they're going to have to work extremely hard to beat me. And if they beat me, like, congrats to them.
It's really interesting you saying that you don't look a lot at your competitors or try not to, because it is such a fine balance of needing to be competitive, obviously, and thinking about other people during the race, but the rest of the year and the time outside of racing, what you do and your body is completely different to that person. So looking at them is going to detract from that, which I think, particularly in amateurs, like there's so much unhealthy comparison when for those people, like this is your hobby, this should be for fun. Yes, like absolutely be as competitive as you'd like, but I think a lot of people lose the joy from that element.
Yeah, mountain running's funny though. Like, at least from what I've learned, nobody is training exactly the same. It's a sport where you need to be both fit and have a skill set. And so you can have someone who is putting half the amount of mileage as someone else, but if they just are extremely skillful, like in the mountains, they can beat a super fit person. And I've experienced this too, like at home, like I'll beat incredibly fast, like road and track athletes who I would say are fitter than me because of my skill set. And it's the same at the professional level, like there still is some gaps here and there. And so with a race like OCC, at least what I've learned is like, you want to be the best at every skill you possibly can. So you need to be able to climb, descend, and just run. And there's some athletes that are extremely very good at descending and extremely great at climbing. But it's really the athletes who can do all the skills. And so that's where I think I derive a lot of my confidence for OCC is I can do everything fairly well. It's no secret that my best asset is that I can run fast, but I can also climb and I can descend. But with that being said, this year's field, there's many women like that, and there's particularly a couple women who are the best descenders in the world. So I definitely have crafted my strategy around that.
Amazing. So lastly, just a few quick fire questions. In training, running with or without music?
Oh man, I'm a big music girl. I love music. Yeah.
What's your song of the moment right now?
Ooh, song of the moment. What is my song of the moment? There's a song called Black Friday, I think. It's like kind of like a trancey dance song that's been a big favorite of mine lately.
Nice. Favorite place in the world to trail run?
Mammoth Lakes, the Eastern Sierra.
Nice. Summer or winter in the mountains?
Summer, for sure.
Yeah. And what are you going to do after the race?
Hopefully celebrating a good race. Yeah, celebrating and cheering on my teammates. One of my favorite aspects about the Chamonix week is you get to see all of your friends race in these huge races, and it just happens to be that a lot of my friends are also professional mountain runners.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just love cheering everyone on.
Amazing. And last of all, could you just describe what that finish line is like? Because it seems like there is nothing like it in the world.
Man, yeah, there's nothing like the Chamonix finish line. It's just loud, and people, they're cheering you on, and it just feels like magic, especially because you get to come into town for a little bit longer than some other races, and especially for these big marquee events, there's people lined up as soon as you get out of the trail system. So yeah, I mean, I've run Boston Marathon, and I would liken it to the people there, and that's one of the biggest races in the world. So yeah, it's just really cool that we have this fandom and people just hiking through during their summer vacation, considering the sport is still has a lot of room to grow.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Dani. Good luck.
Thank you.